Welcome to the Worship Probs podcast, where we aim to entertain, encourage, and equip worship and tech leaders all around the world. Look, we all know that serving in worship and production is great, but the problems, those are real. Thanks for joining us as we dive into today's episode with our host, Brian Tabor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this bonus episode of the Worship Probs podcast, brought to you by Netgear, live from the bridge.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, buddy. We're doing it. Awesome.
These are good people, man.
Great people.
Really good
Great people, BT.
Good people. Okay, so welcome. We're so glad you guys are here. And if you're listening or you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for being a part of this special bonus episode. Okay, with everything we do, we've got 3 E words that are kind of our measuring stick: entertain, encourage, and equip. We want everything we do to hit those marks for people who serve the local church in worship and production, whether you're a staff member or a volunteer. We are grateful for what you do for the kingdom and for the local church. So if you would do us a favor, head over to Apple Podcast, find the Worship Probs podcast, hit subscribe if you haven't done that. Leave us a 5-star rating and a really nice review. It's a huge help to us. Well, I get the honor and the privilege of co-hosting with literally one of my all-time favorite people. You guys know this better than any. He's like the Energizer Bunny.
Come on, man.
If the Energizer Bunny was on steroids
With Coca-Cola.
with Coca-Cola,
Absolutely.
and maybe a couple of triple shot espressos.
Yeah, bro.
It's Brian Nelson.
Oh, Nelly and ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. It is good to be here, and love Tabor, and this. I've known you since before the podcast started, and even when the whole thing with Probs and your Instagram account and all the things took off, and the blessing, seriously, you've been to the people here at our church, but all over the country. Everybody knows who you are, but it's only because you interview people and you just want to get the gospel out and you want to get encouragement out, like you said, your E word. So thanks for having me, dude.
Oh man, glad you're here. So glad you're here. So we're gonna do some fun stuff today. We have a recurring segment called Sliding into the DMs, and we have kind of some preloaded questions that have come in through Instagram and Facebook. But if you guys have questions here in the room, whether it's a follow-up to one of the questions or a unique question altogether, please just come up to that mic, tell us your name.
There's some good questions today. In the DMs.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. They're really good.
Really, really good stuff. But as we're getting started, let us tell you about our sponsor for this special bonus episode, Netgear.
Yeah, this bonus episode is brought to you officially by Netgear AV, and they're the trusted leader in network solutions for your pro AV projects.
Yeah, whether you're a system integrator, an installer, or a tech-savvy enthusiast, you know how critical it is to have rock-solid network powering your AV setup. And that's where Netgear AV comes in. Their M4 250 and M4 350 series switches are specifically designed to handle the demanding needs of AV over IP, offering seamless performance with easy setup.
That's right. With Netgear AV, you're going to get reliability you can count on. Plus, you're going to get the confidence that comes from working with a team dedicated to AV networking projects. And their solutions are pre-configured for AV applications. So you get to skip the complicated setup and get back to what matters most, delivering an amazing experience.
If you're ready to elevate and simplify your AV projects, visit netgear.com/AV, or you can hit the link in our bio to learn more about their industry-leading products and see why professionals everywhere trust Netgear AV.
Yeah, big thanks to them.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Huge thanks. And huge thanks to you and to Allie and the whole staff and the team here. Give yourselves a hand.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
The whole team here at the bridge.
So grateful, man.
Man, just incredible culture, incredible team spirit. So really, really excited to be here today.
Yeah.
So
we are honored to have you, man. It's really cool to have you here.
Thrilled to be here.
The bridge, it is a blessing to be part of the team.
Yeah.
It's a really cool place, man. I'm glad you're getting to visit and see what God's doing.
I've known you since...
Long time, yeah.
And this is
my
first time I'm here.
We're 3 hours apart. That's
my
not
first
that far.
time.
Yeah, it's not that far.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you came.
Okay, so you were kind enough to shoot a couple of promo videos for this.
Yeah.
And it was really awesome to hear a native Chicagoan say
Chicago.
Say it again.
Chicago?
It's a little mafia,
Chicago.
like mob boss.
Yeah, man.
Kind of like,
I'll kill you if you don't. If you ask me the wrong question today, don't ask me the wrong question. No. I was in Italy a couple weeks ago, but I don't know those people.
So give us one more Chicago.
Chicago. So you got to push the Chicago. Yeah, dude.
I like
Get some
it.
pizza and a hot dog. Some of you guys are probably better at than I am. We got some original. I left for 13 years and grabbed a little y'all down south and then came back, Brian. So
I love
what
it.
do you got? You got Indiana.
Yeah, Indianapolis.
There it is.
Yeah, it's just
straight
talk.
Yeah, it is.
Straight Talk Express. Okay, so huge thanks to all of you for being here. If you're listening or watching and you're interested in hosting a pop-up probs event at your church or in your city, send us an email, info@worshipleaderprobs.com. And we're so grateful for everyone who follows us on the socials. We're at Worship Probs on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Threads. If you're on TikTok, which is like the Wild West, we're Worship Leader Probs on TikTok and on the
Twitter?
Yeah, on the Twitter. As Jen always says, the dumpster fire, that is X. You just look for the hashtag Worship Leader Probs.
But without the vowels.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that's the @ and then the hashtag, you can spell it out. That's right.
And so we do this show in the car called Worship Karaoke. Shot an episode of that this morning.
Season 5.
Season 5 is coming.
The two of us, and Allie.
And Allie.
In the back seat just screaming over us.
Yeah, that's right.
Screaming over the top.
She's incredible. So that's coming. That's just a show in a car where we pick up worship leaders, people who are just serving their local church, and then some people who are like recording worship leaders. We pick them up. We talk about worship. We sing old favorite worship songs. We bust out a couple of...
There was some deep convo in that car today.
Oh, gosh, yes.
It was great. Make sure you go watch that because it will help your team a lot.
Check it out on YouTube. You can subscribe at Worship Probs. And then Worship Probs e-news is coming here in 2025. Link in our bio to sign up for our email newsletter.
Well, we do all those things. You can find us in all those places, but this is the moment. I've been excited about recording this podcast. Brian, do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
Well, it's time for prayer concerns.
So if you're new to the podcast, Prayer Concerns, back in the beginning, we thought, man, it'd be really funny if people sent us in like the roast that they get from their congregation, like when they just didn't get it. Like that's kind of how the whole thing started, right?
That's right.
And so,
people, you pass out the card like we have it now online and you fill out prayer requests, right? But a lot of people, unfortunately, use that to let us know as staff what they really think.
Yeah.
And so for 300 and whatever episodes, people have been sending in hundreds of complaints via prayer cards to Mr. Tabor here. And you're going to read, 5 pretty good ones?
We got 5 of them. We got 5 really good ones.
Are you guys excited for prayer concerns? All right.
Yeah, so send yours in to us. You can do it through our website.
Yeah.
Just click on the prayer concerns tab.
And I haven't heard these yet either, so this is, I'm ready.
You can DM those to us on any of the socials as well.
I don't like the people who write these, but here we go.
Right. So let's dive right in. Prayer concern number 1. Today, I overheard a conversation our worship leader was having with an older congregant.
Here we go.
The lady couldn't believe he was the same person that led worship online. After a few moments, the lady finally said, "Well, I think you looked much more handsome online." And then she walked away.
They don't have a tight camera.
She said her piece.
They must only have one wide shot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So once she zoomed in person, she's like,
it.
"Oh dear,
didn't like what she saw."
This dude's ugly.
Okay, number 2, prayer concern number 2. This also happened on live stream, and it just says, "Hey, when you fix the audio, please hit rewind. I love this song."
Hey, do that again. That's complicated.
Yeah. So when you fix the audio, please hit rewind because I love this song.
So it wasn't good. Fix it and then play it again for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're one person.
Burger King.
We'll stay for 2 hours.
You can
for
have
you.
it your way.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3, prayer concern number 3. I play guitar in a relatively blended church. An older lady was playing the piano, and I overheard her tell someone else that they should take up an offering for me to get some new pants with no holes. She didn't think I was paying attention until I leaned over them and said, "Can you believe they actually sold these jeans to me with all these holes in them?" I love that clap back. That's awesome.
He took care of the jokes for
Little
us.
clap back. That's good. That's good.
Fantastic.
Let her know. Yeah.
Oh,
Let her know.
man. Come on.
Okay, number 4, prayer concern number 4. Often we do contemporary versions of traditional hymns. On more than one occasion, the same elderly lady will approach me and offer to sit me down sometime and teach me the tempos to all of these songs the way they are supposed to be played.
They often, so here's what I don't know about you. Most of the time when I do hymns, they tell me I'm going too slow. You know, hymns used to like fly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you never knew what you were saying.
Never knew.
But let's bring them back, brother.
That's right.
Bring them back. Come on, Bri.
Okay, here's the last one.
Last one?
The last one, the bottom of the pudding cup, prayer concern number 5. And it says, "Can you please turn the vocalist down or at least adjust whatever it is that's making her sound so bad?" Yikes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amen. Because it's a
Amen.
prayer.
That's right.
Because it's a prayer.
Yeah, in Jesus' name, amen.
Like if we got that on Tuesday, we pray for all our prayer requests
Yeah.
on Tuesday. Like, guys, how would we pray for that? You know? Yeah, that's so kind. It's
Oh
very
my gosh.
Ephesians 4, right? Build up, encourage.
Oh yeah, encourage one another.
It's very biblical.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm thankful for these older people who are so kind. And the thing is, there's some great older people. They
There
get
are.
a bad rap
They do.
on
Yeah.
this show
Yeah, exactly.
because of these prayer concerns.
Exactly.
All right.
So
awesome.
those, ladies and gentlemen, those are prayer concerns. Thank you for sending yours in. Please keep them coming. Well, one of the things we love to do is we love to tackle the questions that you are wrestling with in your ministry. We do that in a segment called Sliding into the DMs. Since 1988, New Life Ministries has offered compassionate and empowering solutions to those who find themselves in life's difficult places and who are missing what God desires for their lives. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but aren't always equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction, pornography, infidelity, anxiety, anger, fear, depression, and hurts from the past. Do you ever find yourself feeling anxious, fearful, angry, or even depressed in your everyday life or ministry? Or as a leader in your ministry, do you want to be better equipped to walk with those around you who are struggling? We're partnering with New Life Ministries to provide resources, help, and support for you in any season you face so you are best equipped to serve and lead your ministry. Look for more info to come and click the link in our bio to discover more ways that New Life Ministries can help. So we got some DMs here that came in through Instagram and Facebook. We'll tackle these a little bit. If you have a follow-up, just come to the mic, name, and what's your follow-up. Or if you have another question altogether, let us know that
That'd be
too.
great.
Okay, so here's the first one. We're having a difficult time getting everyone to show up for rehearsal. How do we change that?
To even show up.
Yeah, not coming to rehearsal.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I'm looking at the screen here with you, on time. It's not on time. It's to show up. Well, most likely, I'm going to guess, Brian, it's a team that doesn't have a lot of musicians in the church, right? And so we're kind of having to use what's available, but we still got to draw the line. I mean, this is what it takes to be on this team. So if you think about serving in kids ministry, and we say you have to have a background check to serve in kids ministry, and they say, well, I'm not going to do that. Would they serve in kids ministry? No, right? So it's the same with worship. It shouldn't be, in my opinion, it shouldn't be any different. Like if you're going to be on the team, we rehearse. And if you miss one by accident, fine. But if you miss one on purpose, then you're just not on the team. And I think so many worship leaders that we talk to, especially like the conference we're a part of and with you through your DMs, are so scared to let anybody go because they don't have anybody else. But we're going to, in fact, I think we're going to get to this in a minute, the unity piece. And I'd rather have you with a guitar by yourself.
Absolutely.
And no one behind you.
Yep.
than have to deal with this. I mean, to me, this isn't even a question. How do we change that? You meet with them. You say you have to come to rehearsal if you're going to be on the team. They say no. You say, well, then you have to be on the team. Well, we're going to leave the church. Okay. I mean, it's great, honestly, because that's a cancer. So there's another church for you. There's probably a church better fit for you. And we're going to build the team from the ground up with people who buy into the vision, right? Because some people, they just don't have vision. You could give them vision and they might respond. But you gotta, what would you do? Anything else on that?
Man, I just would say hopefully you lined out expectations and you did a really good job of like on-ramping this volunteer. And if you communicated the expectations and they just are not doing it, I think that's one thing. I often think, maybe the first thing we need to do is look in the mirror. Okay, like is there something that I did or didn't do as the leader that contributed to this? Like, did I not communicate what the expectations were? Was I not clear with that? And so, I mean, if you find out that you weren't clear with that, then you got to probably go back and maybe take your whole team through like an official on-ramping. But if you did all that and people just aren't coming, man, you really do. It's Straight Talk Express time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the straight talk comes again, and the dismissal, if you will, comes when they're responding with, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. So that's a long ways away from where you just started. Yeah. It's a long conversation before, because our goal is to keep them on the team. That is our goal. And if they're willing to follow. So hopefully that helps whoever wrote that in. Yeah. And if you want to get more specific, write Brian back and we can reach out more specifically.
Yeah. Okay, so second DM, it says, we're dealing with the spirit of offense on our team. How do we correct? And the nature of this was...
Yeah, what does that mean?
Kind of there's not a lot of mutual respect. I'm offended that person sang this song. I wanted to sing that song. I should have sung that song or played that solo, or I should have been on for Easter. Why were they on for Easter? A lot of offended people in the context of the team.
Yeah. Well, we were even talking before the show. Our worship teams, as far as the church goes, is going to be most likely the most creative people, who then, even by our own makeup, are the most emotional people. And so emotional people, we're going to have victim mentality going on. We're going to have offense going on. And I asked you, when I saw this question earlier, is this a common question for you? You said, yeah.
Yeah, we get it pretty regularly. And like you're saying, creative, we're going to bump into each other because we're passionate and creative, and we hopefully it's a sign that we care what we do. But if there's another side to that coin, and if it's the other side, you got to...
Yeah, it's similar to question one, vision.
Yeah.
Meeting, like I think about our team here at the Bridge, like it sounds so silly, but we just won't allow it. I remember years ago, I had a woman write me, she was a singer on our team, and she wrote me an email and said that very thing. I think I should have sang the song this weekend. I had a couple people ask me why I didn't. And I told her, I was like, listen, we just aren't going to be that way at this church. We cheer each other on, but more than that, like it's not even stop there. We cheer the Lord on. This is just not about us. It's just not about us. And so I told her, I said, the way I work, I'm pretty straight, as you know. If you ever do that again, you will never sing here again. Here's the cool thing. She never did it again, and she sang here for years. Wow. Right? She just needed someone to say, like, that's not here. Maybe that was another church you were at. And if you're listening right now and you're at a church like this, you can fix it by either going to the leader, or if you are the leader, just saying, we're going to live in humility. We are going to want the best for the Lord, and we're also going to honor those. I remember a couple left a church I worked at in Florida, mad because the girl wasn't getting more lead parts. So I go out to lunch with the husband, and he says to me, she's the lead in our band, away from church. They had a band. And so, like, don't you think she's good? That's what he said. We were at Burger King. He says, don't you think she's good? And I said, I do think she's good. I don't think at our church she's good enough to lead a song. But I said, but dude, it's not even that. Here's what it really is. For some reason, God has put me in this position. I don't deserve it. I don't know why I get to decide whether your wife sings or not. But I do get to decide that. I do. And so I get to decide that she's not going to sing a lead, but she's an amazing harmony singer, amazing person on stage. And so it was just like, and they left. And man, did they throw a fit on the way out. And they hurt a lot of relationships. And it was all over a girl wanted to sing lead instead of harmonies. And so I learned way back then, Brian, we were a church plant. We didn't have many people on the team. And I just, as a leader, thought, this is sinful, and we can't allow sin. I don't know if you ever think about that. When I see the spirit of offense, so when they sin and want what they want, how do we deal with it? Well, you get the sin out. Yeah. Not the person, right? We attack the problem. Any thoughts on that?
Man, it's just, it's leadership, man. You got to face this. And I can remember one of my staff positions, we had simultaneous services happening in 2 locations in the same building. And we had some technical issues when that started.
And you love tech.
I love tech. I love it. It just didn't go that well. And so there were a couple of singers that were really, really unhappy that they were scheduled in this venue. And a couple of times I had scheduled some high school students to be on the team with them. And I would get emails and phone calls from the parents of the high school students saying, I just want to ask that you not schedule my kid with these other singers were grown-ups. Please don't schedule my kid with these grown-ups anymore. And I was like, well, why? What's happening? Well, they are so negative. All they do is complain the whole time. And I don't want my student, is just at the beginning of serving. I don't want them around that. And so I had a chance to talk with these, there were 2 of them. And I had a chance to talk with one of them. And I said to him, look, we're a better team with you than we are without you. I want you to be here. But if you can't overcome whatever's going on here, it's going to be time for you to maybe sit and worship from the congregation. The other singer did not take any of that very well. And so I literally had to tell her, I've got parents of high school students asking me not to schedule you with their kids because of how negative you are. And if I were you, I'd be pretty embarrassed by that. I don't think that's anybody's design for what we should be doing when we're there to serve and worship God and lead others in worship. And so have things been perfect? Absolutely not. We've owned that and we're working on it. But you gotta get a hold of this.
Yeah, and leading is hard. This is where leading is really hard. Yep. I talked to one of our staff people this week who said, I always wanted to be a leader, and now that I am one, I don't want to be one. And I said, yeah, because leading's really hard. And she was like, yeah. And this is where it's hard because, of course, and even my personality, and I think you're a lot just nicer person. And so these conversations are really hard, and oftentimes you can be rightly accused of being too tough. However, so I want to get better at that. However, I would still never trade that for the opposite of not having the conversation, allowing that on the team. Yeah. Allowing the high school kids to experience that.
Yeah, absolutely.
As their first service thing.
And you're training them, like if you're not happy with something that's going on, this is how you handle it. And you don't,
in life,
nobody,
not just on a worship team.
You don't want that.
Right?
Yeah.
All of life, we're just going to complain. So hopefully that helps. How do we correct it? Yeah, you just do. You correct it. Actually, whoever wrote that, it's pretty wise.
Yeah.
How do we correct it? They know, the writer of this DM knows that that's wrong.
Yep.
And you just need to go have the conversation. And a lot of people listening, I know, are terrified of confrontation. Yeah. And if you're in leadership, you just don't get. Yeah. God didn't give you a spirit of fear. Yeah. Paul told Timothy, right? Amen. So that spirit of fear is not from God. So obviously you want it out of your life. Get rid of it. Have the conversation. Do it with love. And you'll probably be actually better at it than I am. If you're listening and you're scared, you'll probably actually be better at it because you'll be kind within that conversation. Where a guy like me who loves it can go a little too hard.
Is there an option for us to just email you and have you handle the questions? Because that would be great.
I just did it yesterday for our camp, and it was great. We sat 4 people down who were really fighting, and by the time they left, man, hugging, crying.
Yeah. Good.
And tough things. Like, this will never happen again at our camp. And they were like, you got it.
Awesome.
So you can do it.
Yep.
Everybody listening, you can do it. Yep. Everybody here in the crowd, you can do it. But it's hard to be a leader. And I was so proud of the person who said, I don't want to be a leader now. Yeah. And actually she went up in my eyes.
Wow.
Because okay, good. You don't want it. Now God will use you.
Wow. There you go.
Right? Does that make sense? All right. Number 3.
So the question we get more than any other question is, how do we find and recruit more volunteers. We get this every time we take questions. We get it. Probably 60% of the questions are this or some version of this. It's a really tough time.
It's a really tough time. Okay, there's a mix here. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I hear since COVID, it's been really hard. We haven't found that here. And so, no, and it's not a brag at all. I've actually been analyzing it for a while, like, why is that? I think our church, as well as many others that don't have this problem right now, have kept vision in front of the people through COVID and after. Nothing has changed. Our boss here at the Bridge always says, keep running the same play. Like, we got to play, just run it. We're sharing the gospel, we're loving people, we're discipling people. Like, there's nothing new in 2,000 years. Keep running the play. So as a church, it hasn't been too difficult. Now, music is different. We were talking before the podcast, like, I can't dictate. We have 3,000 people at our church a weekend, let's say. And you might be listening and you're like, well, I've only got 100, so of course you have tons of musicians. No, we don't. And I've had people at our own church ask me, like, why don't you have more musicians? Because I don't dictate how many really great electric guitar players come to the Bridge. And some people said, yeah, but if you play with excellence, they'll show up. I don't know if there's some like electric guitar player hangout where they think these people go and tell them about the Bridge. Only God, and this is what he's done though, he is faithful. Only God can just bring you someone who's a great player. Unless you go higher, there's just no way to dictate that. So there's a big trust in God for who he brings to your church. And you do want to create an atmosphere on the team. You know, when they see you in the lobby and they look at you on stage, they go, that's a good group of people. And they play with excellence. Excellence is doing the best you can with what you have. You're not Phil Wickham, right? You're not Brandon, you're not Elevation, who cares? But you gotta be the best you can be. And they'll be attracted to that, and they'll be attracted to you if you're in the lobby and not hiding in the green room. So that's part of it. But the other thing we talked about was you can turn people into volunteers. I think keyboard today is something you can train a lot of people on. If you find just a great person who's got initiative and loves the Lord, you can teach them keys because our tracks now can maybe play that tough intro, but I can still play under the pastor, I can still play under the announcements, I can still play along with the songs. I might be able to do the one part in that one bridge, but I can train somebody. We had a guy years ago, an older gentleman in his late 60s, wanted to play acoustic guitar. And we don't really have a spot on our stage for just an acoustic guitar player. We only do that if you're singing, just at our church. And so it was really cool. Our worship pastor at the time, his name was Jansen, so smart. He said to the guy, he's like, well, would you learn bass? Would you learn it? Like, you already know fingering a little bit, you know chords. So this guy, he's almost 70 years old, goes and learns bass and has been playing bass for years. So Jansen even taught me, like, get outside the box. Because my original thought was, we don't have a place for him. I'm sure a lot of people listening are the same way or watching, that you just think I don't got a spot. And like, yeah, but he's a musician. He loves music and God. Like, what else could you do with him? Could a drummer learn keys because they've got rhythm, but they're not a good enough drummer to handle the parts of today? But back to that first question, if I don't have a lot of volunteers, then I'm gonna be the best guitar player and singer I can be, the best room leader I can be, and I'd rather have less people with great attitudes than none. Yeah, you're lighting up on that.
Yeah, absolutely. We get in such a hurry because of what we see online. Such a hurry for bells and whistles and all kinds of layers. And I would say, this is not mine, this is Paul Balash, it's better to not have something than to have the wrong something, or to have the wrong person in the wrong seat or whatever. Just take your time. God is faithful. It's who he is. So take your time.
And if you've ever seen Phil, I remember years ago at the Experience Conference, Phil Wickham came, he was by himself. This is before he is who he is now. Everybody knows him now. But he wasn't nearly as famous back then. So he comes and all he has is a guitar. But he had taken that guitar with his pedals and he created, it sounded like a band. It was, wow. But then beyond music, he led us, right? He didn't just, we were talking earlier today, you don't just, if you're on stage as a worship leader and you think you're supposed to sing 3 songs, you have totally missed what we do, right? You're there to lead. And so the pastor talks to people for 40 minutes. If you go up there and sing for 15 or 20, let's say, and never talk to the people, what a weird experience they've just had. They've watched you do something and then they get engaged with. So you should engage with them and lead the whole time. So Phil practiced his craft, his heart, and his leadership, And he led the room of 1,500 people by himself. It was unbelievable. And some people listening will say, yeah, but I'm not Phil Wickham. Yeah, but you could be better than you are right now by tomorrow, by practicing an hour tonight, watching a YouTube video, working on your voice, working on your breathing. And by a year from now, you could be way, way better.
Amen.
So yeah, you want to recruit people, and yeah, you want to be creative outside the box, but you also want to improve yourself, because if the Lord is saying, hey, there's just no one at your church that can play other than you, dude, or girl, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Put some tracks on, lead the people, and guess what? Here's a crazy thing. They're gonna worship. They're gonna sing to God. We sing around a campfire. That's got nothing. So it's not necessary. I don't know, I feel like you came out of that a little bit because you're not a tech guy.
Yeah, right.
You left production though.
Yeah, I love it. I just don't understand how to do it.
Yeah.
I love it when other people do it. And you guys kill it here. This is awesome.
But you're not a hater.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just don't, my mind doesn't thrive in that space, Yeah. When things don't work, it just makes me mad.
Yeah.
I don't jump right to problem solving. Like these Michael and Jack were all down here solving this.
Fixing the audio stuff, running
fixing
around.
it all. I'm just like, I give up. I'm going to go home. I just don't understand it. I'm grateful for people who understand it.
And maybe you'll cut this out later for time, but what do you call it? Getting on the soapbox or whatever.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Yeah.
Everybody the production guys take a hit a lot lately because churches are being told, like, we're getting back to being authentic. We don't need the production anymore. And they are not opposites. There are solo worship leaders with acoustic guitars with no lights and no sound that are just terrible at leading worship and totally full of themselves. There are wonderful people at huge churches that engage the room. Like we saw Phil and Brandon in an arena. And man, do people go after stuff like that, right? On social media and all that stuff. But I told our team that night, I was like, watch how they lead this room. Watch how they're engaging us. Watch how they actually love Jesus. I can't write a bad word about what they're doing. How dare you attack what they're doing? Drawing people to the Lord and bringing people into his presence and doing a much better job leading that room than most worship leaders do with their 100 people who are attacking them. How about all of us just get better at leading, leave the guy with the heavy production alone and leave the guy with no production alone and just be like, it's all good. Whatever your environment and culture and honestly lead pastor and elders decide, that's what we're doing, right? And we're just gonna do it to the best of our ability, or we're gonna not yell at everybody else. Take that time to practice and get off social media other than following worship profs. Yeah.
Spend lots of time on that.
Yeah, lots of time. Yeah. All right.
That's great. That's
another
great.
one
Okay.
here?
Here's the last one we have preloaded here. And again, if you got follow-up or anybody has a question, please flag us down and let us know. Okay, this one says, our lead pastor changes the service order on the fly nearly every Sunday, and it is causing some chaotic moments for our team. Help. You guys don't deal with that here, I'm sure.
Yeah, no,
I'm
way ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
All right, so we've had to deal with this here. Because the lead pastor here and myself are last minute guys. Our head of production, my good buddy Mike, he's way ahead of things. And actually Junior, would be our lead teaching pastor here, he's way ahead, right? So I'm speaking at camp in a couple weeks for our church. And last week he was like, man, I hope you're working on those messages. And I was like, the ones in 3 weeks, right? Like, I'll probably write those as I'm driving, right? Like I'm just wired like that. So here's what we have come to. Now, there's a couple things within this question. First, there's respect that needs to be in this question. You can't tell by the way they wrote it if they respect the lead pastor or not. So let's say they do, well, let's say they don't, then we'll go to they do, because I do, so then we'll talk about that. Let's say they don't. You're just annoyed at this lead pastor. Here's the deal, and again, some worship leaders feel like they're the lead pastor's co-equal. I'll do the music, you do the teaching. I work with Slingshot, and I deal with this with candidates who their answer to how do you want to get along with the lead pastor is I want to be equal. Meaning I'll do the music, he does it. No, you work for the lead pastor. That's it. They can tell you to say my pleasure. They can tell you to say thank you very much. They can tell you to sing 3 songs and not say a word, even though I'm coaching the opposite. Now, you don't have to work at that church, but you do have to do what they say. Okay. So if they got a bad attitude about this quote, whoever wrote this, if there's a bad attitude behind it, that's a heart thing. Deal with that and then come to this part. This part of the answer is You still work for him even if you have a good attitude about it. So what Mike and I have talked a lot about over the years, again, our head of production, is like our church is going to be a mix of planning ahead and last minute stuff. And the last minute stuff people have chosen, and I'm one of them, to honor as best we can the plan ahead people, but we also expect the plan ahead people to honor us. That sometimes last minute, I've just got a great idea and we will do it. And sometimes the great idea came 3 weeks ago. And sometimes they have a great idea 3 weeks ago. And then right before the service, I go, man, if we just did one more bridge there. Or you know what, that double chorus was tiring in the first service. Let's get rid of it for the second service. Like nobody was, those kind of things. I do think there is strength in both. And again, our world wants to divide. They want to come up with answers that pin us against each other instead of just embracing both. And so our church has embraced both. Our church has embraced personality. And what Mike and I talked about, I remember years ago being in my office and talking about, if we're going to work here, this is what it is. So decide if we're okay with this on both sides. He's ahead, I'm last minute. Do I want to work at a place that I really should be ahead more? And does he want to work at a place that can react last minute? If we don't, we shouldn't work here, and that's okay. But if we're going to work here, we're both going to not complain about the other one's way, and we're just going to do it. Now what do you got?
Yeah, I think that's all amazing. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think so much of our conflict can be solved with communication. And so if I was sitting across from this leader, I might say, have you talked to your pastor? And because if it's happening, it says nearly every Sunday. So, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. So have you had a conversation? Like, here's what this causes. Like, we want to support what you're doing. We want your good ideas. We want to be a part of all that. We're on
100%.
board. We're team lead pastor. Here's the ripples of when it happens every single week and it's at the last minute. Here are the ripples for what it causes for, like I told you, production, I just don't understand a lot of it. And I know there are just miles of cable in this system. There are miles of cable. There are thousands of buttons, and you hit one of those out of the order, and it throws the whole thing out of whack. And so, like, introducing last minute change nearly every Sunday, the question says, here's what that causes for us. If there's a way that we could, get a day or two ahead of that, it's a huge help for us. Again, we're team lead pastor. We want to support what you're doing. If you got a great idea, even if it's at the last minute, we want to know about it. I guess I would say if it's happening all the time, perhaps there might be an organizational solution.
Could be. It's kind of where I went earlier, though. Like, I remember one thing we specifically asked our lead pastor for. It was sermons maybe earlier, the slides done earlier, and he said, like, no. And he should. Like, if he writes best right up to the last minute for our people, that is more important than when we get our slides, right? But everything's a conversation. It's really good. I just think some of our friends, Brian, at least, that we've made, we have a lot of mutual friends, they struggle if they have that conversation, and even in kindness, the lead pastor says no. And that's where not everybody, a lot of people move into church hurt. He never listens to me. We go down this road, and it's like I told you, if you watch you got to watch that Carpool Karaoke, episode 1 that's coming out. But in that episode, I talk about Chick-fil-A. And no matter how nice I am as an employee, if I go to my boss and say, I really don't want to say my pleasure when I hand the tray, I really want to say thank you or have a nice day. So my point in even using those examples is, like, the worship leader might have a great idea that really would help everyone. But if you move it into Chick-fil-A world, all of us immediately go, what? And it's like nicer to us. We go, well, no, you have to say my pleasure. But then we go back to that meeting with the lead pastor, and for some reason, we don't give him what we all just gave Chick-fil-A in our hearts. Like, we all just gave the Chick-fil-A owner this, like, right to say no, and we're not mad at him for it because we're all thinking, well, they all say my pleasure. That's the same heart we should have And I love how you jumped in and said, no, you got to have that conversation. I'm jumping back and I go, true, unless they say no. Then what are you going to do? And I think as long as you work for that church, you will serve chaotic moments as best you can with the greatest heart, 100% of who you are until you quit. And then you can go work for a pastor that's not like that. You really can.
That's true.
Right? But what I don't like is the complaining, but I'm here 3 more years.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy or girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having the conversation, you are setting yourself up. He could say no. Yeah, I can't do it further in advance. And you got to be kind of prepared for that.
But you said team lead pastor. If you're team lead pastor,
right,
and he believes you.
Yeah, and if he says no, then you got a choice. You get in line or you.
And here's the deal, I know with our lead pastor, he loves all of us. He's going to want to say yes, especially if we respect him and say, hey, I'm with you, man. It's your vision. It's your leader. I am with you. I got an idea that's different than what you're doing right now. He's going to really respect that. A lot of times, right, those of us who are on staff that are in the audience, he goes with our idea, but he is still allowed to say no and not have us gripe about it.
Oh, yeah, because we talked about this today. Unless you are like independently wealthy or you're going to have a boss your whole life. And I think you have to decide, can I work within that context or not?
Yeah, and a lot of guys leave the church world because I've had it.
Yeah.
He always tells me no. He doesn't let me do what I want to do. And I'm like, where did you go to work after that? That all of a sudden you were doing whatever you want and getting your way, unless, again, you started your own business. But if you're not successful, you're going to have to work for someone. It's really good, man.
Hey,
hopefully that was helpful.
Thank you so much for joining us for this bonus episode of the Worship Probs Podcast. Awesome. So glad you were here. Make sure you hit the link in our bio and go figure out what's the Netgear solution that could really help you crush your AVL stuff every weekend, because there's tons of options.
Yeah, we were really thankful for them putting this on. A couple things as we leave, and Brian talked about this earlier, but remember to hit subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And do us that favor of going to Apple Podcasts and leaving a 5-star rating. Write something out. You all know Podcast World. You know that helps us. It's a way we can spread the podcast. And then thanks for following us on all the socials. It was cool in this audience, tons of people lifting their hands that follow the socials when we started today. At Worship Probs on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Threads. At Worship Leader Probs, the old name, on TikTok. And so that's fitting because TikTok's kind of crazy and goes against the grain. And then at Worship Leader Probs with no vowels. Have fun with that, but you can do it on Twitter, or you just look, if you're older like me, for the hashtag Worship Leader Probs. You can find
and a huge shout out to our friends at Maven Media
Yeah,
Productions.
Maven Media! Woo!
Literally, whatever you need in like the comms space or branding, websites, social media, coaching. If you're work at a church and you're like, man, we could be doing so much more with social media, reach out to Maven. They can help coach up your team. They do an incredible job. They will crush it for you. There's a link to Maven in our bio, or you can head to mavenmediaproductions.com. Tell them we sent you. They love the Lord, and they'll do an awesome job.
Yeah, and don't sit in the struggle. So many worship leaders sit in the struggle because they're expected to do 100 things. It's just not. It's not fair a lot of the time. We're expected to be the comms person at many churches. And so go get help. Don't sit in the struggle any longer. Go get help.
Absolutely. Hey, and thanks to my friend Scott Hoke for our intro. Guys, we love you. Thanks so much for listening to this bonus episode. Until next time, deuces.
We'll see you later. Adios.